listening to Strange Label.
Hey, I'm Chris Brick. Sitting here with my good buddy John Rapp and Jake. Mm-hmm. Let's do this thing live, as we do every Wednesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Time on strangelabel.com. Shout out to my boy Mike. What's up, Mike? What? I ain't got no power. Maybe I do. Do I have power?
It sounds like you have half power. Is it going in and out, the power?
I don't know. Let me hear you. Yeah, maybe I'm too loud. What's up, Mike? Oh man, my finger got weird there. Get this fuck out of here.
Is that jazz version?
We got a guest tonight. Feller.
Smooth jazz.
Shit. Fella by the name of Mike Verney. No. I'm just shaking. John's shaking his head. That is not our guest tonight.
John Thibault.
Oh, I did research for a different guest, John. John Thibault? Who's this?
He's a political lobbying expert. He'll tell you.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I thought we were dealing with the guy who tried to kill himself and fucking escaped from 3 different psychiatric homes when he was a child.
Yeah, sorry, that was my fault. It was a scheduling conflict.
Oh, shit. When are we talking to that guy?
They'll be a little bit on down the road once they figure out.
That guy says he's got Skype and everything and a mic. Did you give him a date?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
But today, we got John, and it's one of those names you got to figure out how to pronounce.
Okay, so in 2 weeks, we're going to be speaking to this guy. Next week, we're speaking to that guy, right, that Neil Armstrong punched in the face?
Yep.
Oh, yeah. That's going to be good. So what'd you say? A lobbyist?
Yeah. Oh, he's calling right now.
All right. What's his name again?
John.
Oh, this is one of those interviews where I got 2 Johns.
The notes are in there under...
I'm not looking at those notes.
Okay.
John, I don't look at any notes.
Good. This is John Thibault.
Thibault!
Thibault!
Yeah. Like Tim Tebow.
Who's that?
The football player.
Football player.
Football player. How about them Cubs, right?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't follow it.
What state do you live in there, John?
I'm in California.
Oh, okay. Well, where are you at? The south or the north? Or the mid?
Northern California.
What the fuck? You didn't see the Cubs beat your Giants' ass last night?
I know. I was busy running around with kids.
Dude, John, that hadn't happened I'm not even a sports guy. I don't like sports. This is the first time we ever talked about sports on this show. But these guys did something that hadn't been done in 30 years. Just in the 9th inning, 2-5, 4 home runs, beat their ass.
It sounds incredible.
Oh, it was. My heart was getting ripped out of my chest the entire time I was watching it. That's how that's how you know you're a Cubs fan when you're watching this.
Yeah, I was going to say. Yeah.
You know they're going to lose.
Yeah. Oh, well.
It was pretty cool when they won.
Yeah, that's always nice when there's a turnaround.
Yeah. So are you a lobbyist?
No, I'm not.
Or have you ever been?
No, I have not.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Why do you focus on lobbyism there? Is that a word?
Yeah, lobbying. lobbying is just like persuasion or sales, right? So I think, people are really frustrated in this country politically because they are doing really ineffective things. And what I have discovered is that the people who get stuff done from a policy standpoint end up hiring lobbyists. And so what we did at iLobby was we created a platform so that people could at least begin to do that.
iLobby.com. Right?
.co.
.co, right.
That's pretty slick. So iLobby.co, like say I want to get something done, because I would think as a child, you're told, anybody can do anything they want. They don't mention, I don't remember hearing anything about lobbyists, although they might have used that term when we did, everybody talks about this mock, what do they call that? Mock Congress? Mock trial? I barely remember that. I don't know I think we did, but it was just so boring and just dumb. And
I think they stopped doing that. I have a son in 9th grade, and they don't teach civics. They've kind of given that up.
Civics. I remember there was the two classes we chose from. Like you could either take the sociology class or the economics class. You couldn't take both. I thought that was kind of weird.
Yeah, well, they have one now called World Affairs or Global Affairs for kids.
Did you take home ec?
I missed that. My sisters did. I did not.
Oh, I took Family and Consumer Sciences.
Oh.
That's what they call it. We cooked.
Oh, yeah, that's good.
And I sewed a pillow that looked like a lightning bug.
Those skills never go away. It's really good to learn.
Yeah, I could sew some pants if needed be.
Yeah, you never know when it'll come in handy.
So
stranded on a desert island.
So I think when I think iLobby, say you want to change something, I wouldn't even know where to begin and how large of a issue, is it something big, something small? Like where does iLobby work? Because what do I want to change? John, what do you want to change?
I want to be able to take my dog into the store without having to jump through a bunch of hoops to get him certified. iLobby.co.
Yeah, so you sort of have to break it down a little bit, but you are right. If you want to change a law, then you sort of look at it and say, well, is it at the federal, the state, or the local? But if it's a policy regarding a store, that's not really a law, unless they have a law in the city where you live.
They say it's a health violation, some health code. I imagine that's a law, right?
Yeah. What city are you in? Where are you?
Indianapolis.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So that's a regulation, right? So there's going to be an agency. This is like not the legislative branch. This is the agencies. And they come up with all these codes and they say, okay, you got to do this, you got to do that. That's a little bit different. That's regulatory lobbying, but you could do the same thing.
So what does iLobby do?
We're basically a platform. Think of it like
Change.org.
Yeah, well, Change.org, exactly right, except Change.org just has you sign petitions, and then that's it. Nothing else happens. Maybe they take it to a business, or possibly they do a boycott or something. The difference here is that we actually, if you aggregate people in different districts, they come together around an issue and they get serious enough about it, then you pool your money together and you could then hire a lobbying firm to represent the group.
Okay.
That's all. Think of it like Kickstarter for issues.
Okay, so it's like, well, normally what it would be is like, I'd say, hey, John, this city's pissing me off. This is not a 30-mile-an-hour road. There's too many kids. Let's fucking get this changed to 24 miles per hour on this road, and maybe a few speed bumps.
Exactly.
So then John and I would get together, and we'd get all the rest of the neighbor, right? Those people?
Yeah. So here's what you would do. You would start, I call it a debate. You would start a debate of some kind, just like listing on change.org. So you put together a very simple thing, and you say, hey, I want to do this, blah, 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 just what you described. And ideally, you want to put both sides of it, okay? Not just one side. So you give the side like why it's a good idea to have speed bumps and why it's a bad idea, et cetera, et cetera. And then once you've got that done, you share that with your friends, you share it in social media, and hopefully pull together enough people to make something happen. Once you have that, you could then say, okay, we got 200 people, we want to get this done, and instead of you going alone to city council or to the mayor, you go and say, look, I got 200 people, you want them all to show up? Or we're going to have a representative. We're going to hire somebody to go represent this group. That's kind of how that would work.
Now, why would one not do that themselves? Like, why would we not just
Because it's incredibly complicated. Here's the problem. For average people, it's incredibly complicated. There's a lot of protocol involved. People don't know. And I don't know if you've ever gone to city council meetings, but, you get 2 minutes. You get in there. They say, yes, what's your issue? Where do you live? Blah, blah, blah. You stand up for 2 minutes. You say what you want. They say, thank you very much. Sit down, go away, And unless you follow up, nothing's going to happen.
Now, do lobbyists have how does a lobbyist become a lobbyist? Because this seems like you're just a middleman. You're a guy who knows people, the system, so it's like, hey, I'll help you out for a fee.
Yeah, well, they actually, to be a lobbyist at the federal level or the state level, you have to be registered. So there's a registration process, there's an education process. A lot of people who are ex-politicians, you hear this all the time, ex-congressmen, they become lobbyists as well.
Like Evan Bayh.
So, yeah, no, exactly. Right. And there's many of them. And
now, is that dangerous, John?
To be a lobbyist?
Well, we see. I live in Indianapolis, so the vote's coming up, and I couldn't even tell you what Evan Bayh's running for. I'm bad, but he used to be our whatever. I sound like an idiot. If anybody's smarter than I am, feel free to chime in and correct me or give me some information, or you can all appear to be as dumb as I am.
Yeah, I think he was your congressman, if I recall. Yeah.
Okay, for years, and then he quit senator, and he quit. And then became a lobbyist. That's what the negative buy ads are telling me on TV. Is that he quit, became a lobbyist. He works. He doesn't work for you. He works for the, machine.
Yeah. Well,
is that true?
Yeah. I mean, that's what happens. They leave Congress because they know how the whole system works. They have the relationships. They've been there for a long time, and they use that and say, okay, look, I'm in a good position to understand whatever your issue is regarding roads and traffic or healthcare or whatever, and I will, work on your behalf to deal with the lawmakers. That's really what happens. And they do it full time.
How much money do they get?
A lot.
Now, is there anything? Because I want to hear bad things about lobbyists, because you always hear bad things. What are the bad things?
Well, the bad things are when they get involved in quid pro quo. That's, I scratch your back, you scratch mine, you give me money, and I'll get something passed, okay? And that's actually illegal. And those are the cases you hear about. The one that came up a few years back was Jack Abramoff, who's pretty well known. I think he was out of Chicago. And Chicago. Anyway, he he became notorious for being a bad boy. That's really what happened. But there's lots of them who are just attorneys and regular folks in government affairs who you never hear of, and they just kind of do that work. They basically, think of it like hiring an attorney or a law firm or an accountant to do some kind of complex work.
How much money does it take to get something like that done? Like $10,000?
No. So here's the problem for you and me and average people, and this is why I'm sort of pursuing this. At the federal level, normally it's a 1-year retainer and it's $1 million to $1 million. So who can afford that? Yeah, exactly. Who can afford it? It's all the major Fortune 500 companies, the big trade associations, but you and your community and your little group and the protesters, nobody can afford it. However, there are a handful of new lobbyists in Washington, D.C. who say, hey, look, we want to leave the big firms. We want to do something for the little guy, and we'll charge, $5,000 a month for 3 months or something. So maybe 10, 15, 20, 25,000. What I'm saying is if you pull enough people together, and the number I use is if you pull 20,000 people together, everybody put in $30, you raise $600,000, you could hire any lobbying firm in Washington tomorrow. It's that simple.
Wow.
But people don't know it, and they don't believe they can get anything done. And that's kind of where we are.
Yeah, and then you'd have to trust the lobbyist. But
yeah, you'd be in contact with them, though. So you're just like with an attorney.
This is an amazing idea you have, my friend.
Thank you. We vet them, and then you work with them, and you don't pay them $600,000 up front. They say, hey, look, we did let's say it's 20 or 30 grand, okay? So, and they're going to work for 3 months. You're going to give them 10 grand a month. So they do some work. They report back at the end of the month, and they said, hey, look, we had meetings with A, B, C, D. We got some progress on this bill. We're doing this, we're doing that. And you go, okay, that sounds good. And then you pay them, okay? And that's kind of how that goes. So you pay them as they go. But if they're 3 months into it and they haven't done something, again, like an attorney, you still have to pay them. It isn't like they deliver results. And it isn't as though they win 100% of the time either, even for the big guys. It basically buys you access. That's really what's happening.
You sound like you're at a tropical retreat.
I'm actually
I heard him call.
Yeah, listen to this. I had to drop my son off, and he said, oh, Skype doesn't work on the regular cell service. So I'm actually at the Stanford Mall near Stanford University, next to the Apple Store, and I'm hijacking their Wi-Fi.
Nice.
There's a plug for Apple.
I appreciate that. We're using
so
Apple
they have a
products. Huh?
Yeah, they have a fountain running and birds flying around and people walking around.
It sounds beautiful. It's already dark here.
Oh, okay. Yeah, right. You're a few hours later.
3.
Yeah.
iLobby.co.
Yes.
Now, what did you work with somebody to come up with this? Because what made you decide that you could? What made you realize that you?
Yeah.
Could,
How did I know this? Right.
Yeah.
Right.
How did you know to be able to do this?
Great question.
Thanks.
So years ago in the early 90s, I used to work at MCA. MCA was the corporate parent for Universal Studios. And so I worked directly under the chairman in what at the time was government affairs. And basically, that's what we did.
Universal Studios.
Yeah. So we handled Universal Studios, Florida, Japan, the music business, the whole thing. And then there was issues with, if you recall, in the late 80s, early 90s, the Chinese would go into, or whomever, would go into theaters and they would film movies, right? They'd take them back to their home country and then they would sell them and distribute them, etc. So the studios were losing a lot of money from that.
Bootleg?
For a second, I thought you said trannies.
No,
you said Chinese.
No. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I was really confused on what type of videos you were talking about.
Yeah, right.
That was slip up on my fault. I apologize.
No, that's okay. So anyway, I got exposed to what, corporate America was doing at the highest levels.
During the blank tape tax? Remember they were doing that?
Yeah, and then it became part of the trade deal that Clinton negotiated in the mid-'90s. There's a bunch of things like that. They were
trying to put a tax on your blank cassette tapes so that the record industry would make money that they were losing off of you bootlegging.
Yeah. No, they tried all kinds of things. I mean, that evolved into the whole Napster problem years later and all kinds of things. So, anyway,
but yours were doing films. Jerry.
Anyway, from that experience, I ended up transitioning and then landed at eBay, where we put buyers and sellers together. And as I was talking to friends over the last 7 or 8 years, they're going on about how frustrated they are because they can't get anything done, politically speaking. I mean, I don't care if you're on the left or the right or whatever. People were just like, I don't know how to get anything done. And that wasn't my experience when I was at MCA. So I thought, you know what? They're missing the big picture of what happens. So I said, look, if we can build a marketplace like we did at eBay, a global market where average people could just sell stuff worldwide between buyers and sellers, well, why can't we do it between voters and politicians? So that's what was the origin of the idea.
Did you know John Denver?
I did not.
Oh, fuck. That'd be a lot cooler if you did, man. So working at eBay and seeing the stagnation happening on this other end.
Yeah.
In a whole different field.
I knew Jimmy Stewart when he was alive. I met him.
Really?
Yeah.
Jimmy's not bad.
No, he was a good guy. He had that famous movie, Mr. Smith Goes to Washington.
I never saw that one. I saw the I saw the Hitchcock one where he's in the apartment with the broken leg. Rear window?
Yeah,
Is that Rear Window?
Yeah, I think so.
And I saw that one where he's like, I don't want to on any ground floors. I want to do what I want to do. I don't want to get married to anyone. I just want to do what I want to do. And then he slaps that chick and then they start making out.
The good old days.
He shakes her up, man. That's the weirdest movie. That It's a Wonderful Life. Weird.
Oh yeah. That one is too.
Who else you got over there?
Politicians are actors. I haven't met Steve Jobs, no.
Well, what's the difference, right?
Yeah.
Politicians are actors.
Kind of the same thing, They're all celebrities.
You know any Mormons?
I might, but you can't ask anymore, so I don't really know.
Hey, John, I'm on the site right now, iLobby.co.
Yeah.
I logged in and everything, and I created an issue, right, a debate, because we need a speed bump on our street, and we tried to get it done, and they said no. So here's where I got stuck. Present your argument.
Yeah. Okay. So
we need.
You just gotta give a short. Yeah. You can just put in a few things as placeholders for now, but don't publish your debate yet. Just put in some rough information. And then if you want, ping me or send me your email or whatever. And I've got a couple of other videos and things that I can give you to support that.
Nice. Then it says
yeah, just don't publish it.
Okay. Fun.
In other words, I'll walk you through it. I'm not going to walk you through it now because I can't see what you're doing, but that would be a good test, actually.
Okay.
Walk somebody through online in 20. You can actually create a debate in 20 minutes if you put it together quickly.
Has anybody done this? Have you guys seen any results yet? Have you guys have people on the website hired a lobbyist?
Not yet. So.
Oh no.
Yeah. I like the drums. So it's still early on. People are still learning. You need to have a lot of people engaged to make it happen. People are putting up their own debates, and then some of the ones we put in as well a while back.
You got a lot of debates. You see some debates on there, John?
Yeah. Pull some of these up. One of them's Law Enforcement, Crime, and Criminal Justice. Could Santa Clara's Special Response Fee be...
You're mumbling mouthing that, John.
Well, could Santa Clara's Special Response Fee be unjust? That's one of them. Another is Ethan's Law to Restore Rights Even If Volunteers Signing Your... That kind of cuts off.
Oh, that sounds like an interesting one.
Family Issues, Abortion, and Adoption.
What?
Here's one. Prosecute white-collar crimes, fraud, and sweetheart scams. Force the government to respect the privacy of your...
Sweetheart scams.
And there's a picture of a sweetheart scam guy.
What is that? That's like, what are they? What's the word, bro?
I don't know.
Lonely lovers, or... Right? No.
You'd have to see if that guy's really trying to change the law.
It doesn't sound like it. It sounds like he's...
I'm going to bring this up.
You think he entered in something that shouldn't be on there?
Nah, it doesn't sound that bad, but...
well, I mean, not applicable.
Yeah.
No?
I'm going to bring something else up. These first couple that you're looking at are from folks putting stuff in, and they're not super detailed yet.
They're probably kind of like what John was trying to put up.
Yeah, and part of it is you have to get really clear on your message, okay? And that's part of what we talk about. Like, there's a tab at the top that says Discover Great Debates, and okay, so here's one regarding the opioid crisis, which is a big crisis. It's right, people are taking opium all over the country, and
my father's going to be on the CBS National News coming up discussing this. He's a man on the street.
Oh, good.
He's been with the paramedic department for majority of his life, and he's seen the times are changing. He's going to be speaking on this.
Oh yeah. No, that's what I was in Rockland, California, this little town, 40, 50 miles east of us, taking the kids to basketball, and on the front page of the newspaper was exactly what you're talking about. The EMTs now have these special, I think it's called Maxilline or something, where they inject a guy. So if a person overdoses, and before they die, they say, okay, we're going to do this, and it's going to reverse.
It's not Narcan, is it?
Yeah, maybe. Something like that. Yeah, I don't remember the drug, but apparently the cities are sanctioning it, and they're saying, in other words, the guy OD'd, we don't want him to die, so the EMTs come in, save him, They bring him back down. He lives, and the next day he goes back and he gets high again. It's crazy. So the on one of these debates, it says stop the opioid drug epidemic. It says yes on HR 4447. So it's a real bill in Congress. So what you're doing is, when this was put in, the person tied it to a real bill in Congress, and then you tie it and figure out who the sponsor of the bill is, who the congressmen are, what district they're in, and we take care of all that stuff behind the scenes for you, so you don't have to think about it. Yeah. And that makes it a lot easier to move forward on something.
They need to make it to where it's not a crime. Like, I mean, if I were to call you, like, say John OD's on heroin, if I call you, I'm going to get in trouble probably. Yeah. I don't know the specifics of that. They need to, if someone's dying, like I shouldn't be charged for calling to save your life just because I happen to be doing heroin with you. Right.
But what's weird is so many of our behaviors are determined by laws and we don't realize it. And it's so complicated, right? Code of Federal Regulations is something like 87,000 pages. I mean, it's huge.
Huge.
Yeah. Anyway.
So how much do you what's a fair amount? The next thing on the box is it says funds needed. The value that's already in there is 5,000.
Yeah.
What do you think? I mean, average. Is 5,000 a fair amount? You say, or?
Well, I'm just saying for the guys at the federal.
30 people on the street. On our street.
Right.
Is 5,000 accurate? You think, or?
Well, you may not even need any money if you had the people on your street. They came together, they were completely coherent, and you get politically active in the right way, you may not need to raise any money at all. You just go through the whole issue and you could present it to the lawmakers. But you would have to have enough people who agree with you.
Maybe 30 is you think is enough?
You'd be surprised that I don't know if you saw, but so I wrote this book called How to Change a Law. And there's an example that I included in there, which is a real example where on a street that we lived on, we were trying to, and this wasn't really so much of a law, but it was actually a group effort. We're trying to get the recycling company to pick up the garbage on a different day, right?
Yeah.
So I call them and they say, no, this is the day. Sorry, too bad. We're not going to do it. I could talk to the manager, the owner. They just say, no. So what I ended up doing was, I was the head of our homeowners association at the time, but I asked one of the women on the street, I said, hey, listen, let's put a letter together, have everybody on the street sign this letter, right? Like figure out what we're going to do. And we kind of did it like a petition. So everybody signed it and we presented it back to them and said, look, here's all the homeowners. We are customers of yours. This is the total value it will cost you. And this is what we would like to get done. And we'd like to switch it because some of the folks on the street were elderly people who couldn't take their trash out themselves, so they would have their gardener do it. And then because we did it in such a specific, targeted way, the very next day they turned around and they said, okay, wow. And they caved in. They caved in and they did it. Now, I had a back, not a back channel, but I had something else in my back pocket that we could have used. I'm good friends with the people on city council, so I could have gone to them and said, hey,
that's what I'm saying.
Exactly.
You know these kind people.
Right.
Yeah, so that's what a lobbyist...
And they negotiated the contract with the recycling company. So if the recycling company wasn't willing to make the change, I could go to our council member and say, hey, I'd like to make the change. It's hurting these old people. They can't take the trash out. You want to collect the fees, and really sort of put the whole argument together and say, look, I got 14, 15 families on the street. This is what we want to get done. But we didn't have to go there because we were so specific with the company, and they understood we were serious, and we got it done.
Man, see, the hardest part of getting something like this done is not only the know-how, but mainly the know-who,
Yeah. I mean, knowing who and pulling the people together.
We don't know these people. These people aren't going to hang out with us in circles.
Yeah, well, that's why you hire a lobbyist if you want to get something done at the state or federal level, And the idea is to give the little guy power, right? So that you can get something done.
You probably don't need a lobbyist, right? You could probably manage it on your own, it sounds like.
Yeah, but it's a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a lot of, in other words, you see this all the time, right? The Million Man March. These guys go to Washington, they get on the mall, they spend money on airplane tickets, hotels, getting on the bus, the whole thing. They're there for days. They hold up signs. you know what happens? Nothing. Nothing happens. It's a waste of time. But they keep doing it.
Was Martin Luther King Jr. a lobbyist?
I don't know. I don't think in the classic sense. I think he was an activist. And certainly he got something done during that time. And I'm not saying that was a bad thing, what he did. It actually, helped prompt the Civil Rights Act. So
you see that new Lyndon B. Johnson movie with that Cranston?
No.
Oh, it's amazing.
Do you mean Cranston, Alan Cranston, the former California senator, that guy?
No, Brian.
Oh.
The guy,
okay.
The guy in the green shirt and the undies.
Oh, yeah, I haven't seen that.
Breaking Malcolm. That guy. Oh, you should check it out. It's interesting. But in that movie, that depicts. It sounds like it makes Martin Luther King Jr. kind of look like a lobbyist to me. Just the way, he's behind the scenes, the way he's negotiating with Johnson and these other politicians, and how we'll back off these people if you give us 2 seats, on the floor. Give us 2 black seats, then we won't do this. It kind of comes off like lobbying, because he's lobbying for, the African American people.
Right. Well, the technical definition is something like if you are influencing public officials, then you are lobbying them. But there's gradations of that. In other words, if you do it personally, it's fine. You can go to your congressman all day long and say, hey, I'd like this, I'd like that. But if you got paid to do it by somebody else, then you spent more than 20% or 30% of your time on it, then all of a sudden you need to actually register as a lobbyist. There's some rules around that.
Man, we need to get in with our congressman, John Rapp. Like what would happen if I were to just send that guy letters or call him and just say, hey, do you want to hang out, bro? And just, and then show up outside the office, just asking if he wants to hang out sometime. Like he would probably, if I asked him, like over the course of 100 days, wouldn't he be inclined to go meet me somewhere for dinner? I would
possibly.
But then when he gets there, you got nothing to say, and man, I just want to see what's up.
That's a great point. Again, in the book and I'm developing a course now. It's like, let's say you have 15 minutes. You get this guy in a room. You sit down with him. What's he going to ask you? And what are you going to say? And that's where it all has to come together. You have to be able to pitch what you want in 10 to 15 minutes.
I don't want anything. I just want to be his friend.
Oh, well, then move in next door.
Yeah, like I'd just like to just hang out with this guy, Is there anything weird? There's nothing weird about that, is there?
I don't know. It depends. I mean, it really depends. I know politicians here who are, like state guys and county guys and local, and they're around. They're real people, so.
Daniel Coates
Did you ever invite
and Joe Donnelly. That's ours. That's our senators.
Daniel Coates and Joe Donnelly. See, we need to talk to these guys because I want to go to the White House. I really want to visit the White House. And I don't think you can visit the White House unless you get one of these guys to, get you in. Isn't it weird like that? Like, you can't just go visit the White House, right?
Yeah, I think that's right.
Really?
Yeah. Too many people want to go.
Yeah, you got to get one of these guys. You just, if you want to go to the White House, you have to ask one of your senators to, give you some tickets or something. That's
right.
It's really weird how you have to do it. It's not like going anywhere else.
Yeah.
You got to get political. See, but that's why I'd like to know these people. I just like the guy to have my name, Just like him to know that I exist.
You can get a tour from Daniel Coates.
See, that's what I'm saying.
Joe Donnelly, the other guy.
I need to do that.
Oh, whoa. So here's a tip for you.
Right.
Here's a tip for you and your audience. All congressmen have not a department, but an area they handle called constituent services. Okay? So you can call them up and tell them exactly what you said. And they will say, oh, this is how you do it. They'll explain to you how you do it. Or the other thing is they fly flags, obviously, over the White House.
There's a place I can call.
Here it is.
And say, hey, I just want to hang out with Mr. Coates, just have lunch.
You call the district office for your congressperson, and they have one person handles what's called you're a constituent. It's constituent services. And you just tell them what you just said. And they'll either tell you to get lost, or they'll say, hey, we'll help you. If they think you're a serious guy, they might say, fine, we can do it.
But what's the seriousness? I just want to hang out.
Yeah, well, you can just tell them that.
You have to buy this flag to get their attention?
No, you actually I think you get your name on a list. and you say, hey, look, I would like to have a flag. And then
Dan
you're
Coates
on a...
makes you pay for it.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think it's free because it's, quote, paid for by the public, right?
What's the current rate for Dan Coates' flag?
$11.
Are you selling them?
Or $6 extra to get one that's flown over the Capitol. Yeah, I no joke. It's our guy is charging money for this. You say it's supposed to be free?
I thought so. Maybe not. Maybe they.
Welcome to Indiana, buddy.
Wait, what is this? What is this flag, and how do I know if I need one?
Well, you don't necessarily need it, but I'm just saying that constituent services handles that kind of stuff, right? They also handle
what kind
like,
of stuff? What is it?
I think that's it.
Well,
they just have this gimmick to where, if you want to get this flag.
Yeah, or let's say you go to here's a good one. You go to Venezuela and you have a problem, and so you need somebody at the State Department to get you out, right?
Yeah.
Because you have a little problem down there of some kind because the country's falling apart.
I want to go to the embassy.
Right, exactly. So you need to have a good relationship with your congressperson. They contact somebody at the State Department, I don't know, like Hillary Clinton, and then they help you out because they know who you are.
See,
right?
that's all I want, John. That's all I want is just somebody, just to him be, a relationship with him, just to him know that I exist, other than no relationship. It's like... And it'd only be really for personal gain, but it would be a gain for him too because he'd at least know somebody from his hometown. He can brag about that.
Mm-hmm,
you can request a meeting with Senator Donnelly.
Have we had this conversation before?
You could interview him on the in your studio too. You could do that. You could offer that.
That'd be amazing.
Just call them up. Say, hey, listen. Here's
Let's get a congressman here to the house, John. That's all we need to do.
Absolutely. Here's what you do. You say, hey, anybody who's running for re-election would like the airtime, right? So you say, hey, look, I got the station, it's Chris Brake Show, blah, blah, blah. And then I'd love to interview you and get your issues out to the public. Unless they're crazy, generally they might be willing to do that. So.
Wow, that'd be really cool.
I'm full of ideas.
We'd be like our own personal local Mark Maron heroes.
Yeah. And then you just, cross-post that, and once you get one and you do a good interview with the guy, he'll say, wow, I did a really good interview with him. Let's do it with politician B, C, D, E. You could do more. It'd be easy.
We're going straight to Andre Carson. Do you know Andre Carson?
Yeah, I know the name, and I don't remember who he is.
He's Julia's son.
He's our representative.
Oh, okay. Yeah, get somebody who's running for office who has a really tight election.
I sent them an email.
I need to get in.
It doesn't have
to it.
Oh, what?
Yeah, it doesn't have to be Congress. It could be somebody at your county level, your city level, and often they're easier to get in.
I need to talk to this Brian Bosma. You know that guy?
No.
I don't know what he does, but he's something here in town. But I know he was some elected official. But I used to work in the same law firm that he did. So I'd see him around.
Yeah.
So I could probably get a shoe in with that guy.
You never know.
I think so.
And then the only thing you want to do is have a few issues that you want to talk about. Like the road one would be a good one, but the speed bumps, that's a good one. That's pretty neutral,
We just made that up, dude.
Yeah. I have a video on that. That's amazing.
Oh yeah, I just know that's a common thing. I fucked up the magic. I shouldn't have admitted that to you.
No, I really do need a speed bump.
Oh, John needs a speed bump.
Yeah, no, our neighbors, it's actually becoming a serious issue.
Yes, see?
We tried to go in front of the board and they said no, and so
really?
It sounds like if you have, maybe you go through iLobby.co.
You can get this done. You can get this done. You can, especially too if you use your brother,
Yeah,
and say
kids in the neighborhood.
Yeah, I mean, you see that, like, you see deaf child area.
Yeah.
I think Jake's taking a picture of me. It's freaking me out. You're distracting me, Jake. I put walls up for a reason. Now you're trying to capture my soul. It's bad enough I have to look at you in the eye sometimes.
John's book is beating President Obama's book on the Amazon bestseller list.
Really? Did you know that, John?
It was. It hit one day or something. It hit. It did that. Yeah.
How does that happen?
I'm looking this thing up for you.
iLobby.co.
Yeah.
And the book is
anyway. There's a. Go ahead.
How to Change a Law. No.
Yeah, on Amazon.
Oh, yeah. But, John.
Yeah.
Thibault.
So there's a video on YouTube. I can't find it. I'm searching here in the,
I hate it when that happens.
In the Apple arena here. And, but I think it's called James and Emma Change a Law or something. But it's a little 3-minute video we did. And it talks about exactly what you just said.
That sounds
people
sweet.
Putting speed bumps on the street. Yeah. James and Emma.
Nice.
I'm looking for it here. Yeah.
That is, I like that. John's also got this crazy neighbor who, they won't let him, the city, they changed the zoning thing and they won't allow him to leave his trailer.
He'd love this. This is for him.
Yeah, they won't let him leave his trailer, like, on his front, or in his driveway.
Yeah, he wants to keep his boat trailer or something in his driveway.
Yeah,
and they made a law that says you can't do that, and so he hangs it up there.
It's an empty trailer, and they said you can't put it in the back, out of sight. You can't touch the grass. You can't have it out here.
He said it's the death of property rights.
Yeah, it just the rule. Technically it says it cannot sit out front. So what he did is he got a bunch of ropes and he hung it from a tree in his front yard because it's not breaking any law now technically because it's not sitting on anything, and he is calling it a display of public art. He's calling it art now.
I think that's good. This is called unintended consequences because they weren't smart enough to say somebody might hang the trailer from a tree. Okay, so I found this on YouTube. It's called iLobby Explained in 3 Minutes. Okay, that's the name of it. And it's this James and Emma little video.
You know how it feels when they're...
Yeah, I found it. That's it.
It's easy to feel lost.
And it's exactly what you said. A minute or two into it, you'll see the thing with the street speed bumps.
Yeah.
Here it is.
I've heard of this because I remember reading a story.
You know how it feels when there are too many rules in your life.
You know how it feels.
It's easy to feel lost, confused,
John, is this you?
and overwhelmed.
Yeah, this is the video.
And when a rule is
You wanna hear it?
unfair,
No,
There you
I'm
go,
asking,
yeah.
don't get a
I'm
chance
asking,
to
I'm
speak
asking
up
John
and
if this is
change
him
it.
talking.
So wouldn't it be great
Oh, it is,
if there
yeah.
was a way where you could actually change the rules? Where you could actually decide? That just seems like common sense. This is the big idea behind iLobby. iLobby puts you and your community in control, where you have a voice and can work with anyone, anywhere, and create the rules and laws that matter to you. Meet James. He's a father, and he wants to slow the traffic down on a street to keep his kids safe. He went to City Hall and asked about putting in speed bumps.
This guy painted a
But all he got
crosswalk
was
on
a
his own
note.
street in the neighborhood
James
because the
felt
city wouldn't put
defeated.
one in.
He didn't
He
want
got
to have
fucked
to
up.
wait years. He wanted to get something done now. Then his sister Emma visited from back east, and she explained that they got a traffic circle and speed bumps in their busy neighborhood. None of her neighbors had time to go down to City Hall, she said. They didn't want to protest. A petition just didn't seem to work. And even when they talked to the mayor, well, he
spit
just
up.
shrugged. But Emma had a secret weapon, iLobby. Her whole neighborhood came together, shared their
spit up.
issue in an online debate on iLobby, and everybody pitched in to help. Then, iLobby matched them with a professional to guide them through the bowels of City Hall. Since they didn't have to be there every day fighting City Hall, they could get on with their jobs and their lives and their kids' sports. So James took his sister's advice and shared his own debate on iLobby. And now his story has a happy ending. The cars are slowing down, the kids are safe, and everybody's happy, even the mayor. And because James connected with his neighbors to work together and had expert advice to guide them through, he's a local hero. iLobby matches you with a lobbyist to do the heavy lifting for you. It's simple. So whether you're a parent worried about the safety of your kids, a doctor concerned about the health of your patients, or a small business drowning in a sea of red tape, or you just can't seem to get through to your elected leaders, well, remember James. Oh, And James? Well, now he's off to tackle the bigger speed bumps in Washington. iLobby, your political persuasion platform. You can share your own debate at www.ilobby.co. Imagine changing a law.
Very good.
That was pretty intense.
So you know it's so funny that you said that you had this issue with the streets and the speed bumps. There you go.
It's a common one. Like I said, I remember reading an article about a guy who, wanted a crosswalk and a stop sign and all this stuff. So the city wanted to do it, so he put one out on his own and he painted a crosswalk, in the middle of the street. And he got in trouble for it.
Uh-oh.
There's some crazy laws. You know that there's cities that won't allow kids to have lemonade stands?
Well, I mean, that makes sense. I mean, that is an illegal business, right?
But they're only 8 years old.
It's not taxed.
Yeah.
They have to get a permit, $500 permit to sell $3 worth of lemonade.
Yeah, there's no
wacky laws.
But there's no, they're not operated by the food board or the.
Yeah.
Who knows
No, that's the other side of the argument. Yeah.
There's no OSHA. What if they get hit by a car? It's going too fast.
There's a couple others like that. You can't grow a garden in your front yard. You can't plant vegetables. Some towns have that.
I could see that. That's weird, but I could see that. Yeah.
So there's lots. Basically, there's lots of crazy laws that are still on the books that never come off.
So now they're coming out.
Well, those don't sound too crazy. The crazy ones are where, like a woman can only drive a car if it's going slower than 10 miles an hour and her husband is in front of it waving 2 orange flags.
I mean, no, I understand that one. But.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's lots.
The orange flags, I mean, that makes sense.
Or then also you can remember there's like a law you can beat your wife as long as the rod is no thicker than 2 inches in diameter.
Yeah, that's weird.
Those are laws.
Shouldn't be able to beat people.
Donald Trump needs to get rid of those laws to prove how great of a man he is.
I'm against being able to beat somebody. Shouldn't be able to do it.
You're against it?
Yeah, you can't beat somebody.
Well, as long as it's no thicker than 2 inches in diameter.
Even if it is.
Who the fuck are you? All of a sudden, this guy's a saint.
Wow.
They get a line, they get the cane.
We have intense political debates.
But they usually
beat people in other countries.
They usually end with me holding a cane, though.
Well, they shouldn't be beating people over there.
Yeah, we don't have any control over that. Sort of.
Sort of.
John, should we have control over that?
Except for the fact that we give them a lot of money.
I know a Puritan pirate who would disagree with you.
You give them a lot of money.
Not me.
Yeah.
Me? How so?
State Department has a budget. We pay taxes. They take the tax dollars, allocate it to, hey, Egypt. You need $500 million? Here you go.
We do not allow Syrian refugees in this state. Syrian refugees are not allowed in this state. That is correct.
Wow.
Because our governor is Mike Pence.
Yeah, of course.
And he said that he did not allow them because he didn't think that there was enough checks happening.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, so we got a shitload of Chins, Burmese, but no Syrians.
Interesting. You should try to get Mike Pence on. Nah, that wouldn't happen. He's too high up.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
We should, though.
You're
right. We need to get more political.
Him? Is he a good governor?
I cannot answer that question if we're going to try and get him.
Okay.
No. Well, I don't know. I don't know, to be honest with you. I just hear that. I hear all the hate stuff. I don't really follow his career, but I know that there's been a lot of history of hate that I've witnessed.
Right.
And then now that he's running for the vice president, now everybody's talking about it.
Yeah.
But yeah,
he seems like a good guy.
Well, he's the guy that passed that freedom. What's it called? Religious Freedom Act that allowed companies to discriminate against gay couples,
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
A few other things. But I can't. There was other big things, but I can't remember them all. That was the big one, though.
Yeah.
Like when Donald Trump picked him, it was hilarious. It's like, oh, of course. He's going to pick this crazy motherfucker.
That's our guy. Now you got a 7-day challenge. What's that about?
Oh, yeah. That's a course, actually. 7 days, you write a debate. Walks you through it step by step.
Oh, it takes 7 days.
Asked and answered.
Yeah, we're not trying to get you to do everything in 15 minutes. It's too, people have too many questions. Think of me like a Sherpa, just as your guide.
Was that some kind of Jewish thing?
Yeah, those are the guys that take the people up Mount Everest. Right?
Oh.
Yeah, a guide.
They don't come back.
Yeah.
I thought it was like Bobby Bacala.
So I went to
no.
the
So you don't want to go
how
up
do I
there
do it?
alone, right? You need someone to say, okay, I've been there before. Here's how you do it.
Sauce.
Here's the equipment you need. Let's go.
We're live, dude.
He knows.
Can I answer any more questions for you guys?
Well, yeah.
Yes.
How do I take the challenge?
Problems?
I'm at it right now. Navigate your issue. Take the new 7-day challenge, and then there's a video.
Oh, yeah.
Register now.
Yeah, keep going through that. The little orange button will pop up, and then
This
sign
costs
up.
money.
You know what? I'm going to take that off. Yeah. I haven't done it yet.
Nice.
How much does it cost?
I think we ran a test and we put it in for 47, but I'm going to move it back to 0 because I want people to, get empowered.
Nice. It's a free 7-day challenge.
John, you just made some real change.
Boom.
Wanted it, got it.
Boom.
There's also, what
Done,
else is
bitch.
Amazon has these. I know where it is. Story Cartel has a free giveaway. That's where it is. So, and I think they're now. Are they doing it now? No. Okay, so that's something else. Amazon has a thing where you can give the book away. So I'm doing that as well.
No, there's no shame in charging for your product. I just was saying,
Yeah.
I was trying to figure out what it was, and do I have
Right.
to pay for this or not? It's fine
Yeah,
if
yeah.
you do. I'm not asking it. I don't need no Daddy Warbucks throwing me any bones.
Yeah, I'm just trying to get people sort of educated on the platform.
Well, now it's usually $300.
Helping them out. It should be 2,000.
Well, hey, how about a coupon code for the Chris Break Show? Then
I could do that. I could do that.
And then they get it for free. Something like
Oh,
that.
you know what? Actually, you know what? If people go to that link that you just went through, there is a code. I forgot I put this in. This is how professional we are. It's Radio 9. So there's a coupon code, and I believe it's Radio 9. And I think that'll cut the price in half.
Yeah. All right. You know what that means.
This has been iLobby.co creator John Thibault. Go to iLobby.co. John, thank you so much for coming on and talking to us.
Hey, I really appreciate it. You guys have a great sense of humor. Thank you.
No problem, man.
Okay.
Later.
See ya. All right. Bye.
Bye. I like that guy.
Yeah, he was very helpful. He's going to help me with the speed bump.
He is. Just go get your own speed bump. I mean, is that a neighborhood thing or is that a city thing? That street?
I don't even know. What he's saying was he's going to, he offered to walk me through like how to write it so it looks good or whatever.
People using that as a cut through and flying through.
That's exactly right. Yeah. And then they're honking at you when you're not going fast enough. I just pulled out of my driveway.
Yeah, because you got one of those streets that's like really wide for being just a residential.
Yeah,
like that street looks like you could go. I mean, you could probably safely go 50 on that if there's not kids out, but there are.
Yeah. There's lots of kids.
Yeah, it's a fucking
Dogs
neighborhood.
and stuff,
but
yeah.
I mean, but it's super wide.
Yeah, it's so wide that if you didn't really want to have a big problem about it, you could go around somebody or whatever. But yeah.
But I'd say it looks like a 25 to 30. I feel the older I get, the slower I drive through neighborhoods. Like I find myself coasting through neighborhoods now at like 20 miles an hour
Yeah,
and
me
being
too.
on the lookout for kids like a son of a bitch.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I don't mean that in a creepy way.
Yeah, no, just making sure that they're not out there. Yeah, because sometimes they're out there.
John from iLobby.co. That's really all I got. Nothing happened to me. These fucking Cubs, dude. I went to the Cincinnati Zoo. But that's not. I went to the Great American Ballpark and I saw them Cubs play the Reds there a couple weeks ago. And it was pretty good. Pretty good, man.
Did they win?
Yeah.
Nice. And that's
they
uncommon,
lost. They lost the next night.
Isn't it common for them to lose? Is that the thing?
Well, they've lost for 108 years. But no, they're pretty good. They're the best team ever. They're awesome.
Nice. That's good to hear.
Yeah. I don't know what's going to happen. Me and my daddy, if they make it in the World Series, we don't have tickets or anything. We have no intention of getting tickets. But we're going to fucking drive our ass to Chicago. You like that, Jake?
Yep. Fuck it. Let's go.
Yep. That is a fact. Go watch the game in the fucking bar.
Okay.
In Chicago, in Wrigleyville. It's a must, you see. These things must happen. Because this doesn't happen all the time.
It's like once in a long time, right?
Yeah. Yeah. That's the only sport I'm really into, and I'm not even into it that much.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like to be called a fair weather fan, because I'm not a fan of anything. You know, but the Cubbies are always there in the back of my mind. Raised on them. You guys been raised on anything that you still hold dear? I think you guys are depressing. Nothing, huh? Raised on hot
Gotta
dogs?
use the bathroom.
Macaroni and cheese?
I really gotta use the bathroom.
Well, try and think of something. Faith? That's a good one.
Yeah, I still have that.
What do you click and go take a pee? Jake?
What's up?
You got a stupid person of the week?
I saw a little kid.
Stupid person of the week!
I saw some little kid freaking out on my way home from work.
Really?
Tonight, or on my way here to work from work.
Why? What were you trying to do to him?
I didn't do nothing to him. I just, as I'm driving up on, like, he's over on the street.
Those were two creepy kid jokes. Back to back. All right, go ahead.
As I was driving up onto him, like,
wait, where were we again? You're driving.
I was on MLK, like in the city.
Oh, you're downtown?
Yeah. And
You're
this
driving
kid's on the
downtown and
sidewalk.
there's a kid freaking out?
He's got his bike, and I'm guessing it was his cell phone. And
Define freaking out. What was he doing? Was he screaming? Was he jerking off?
As I'm about to be parallel with him, I see him throw his phone, smash his phone into the ground.
Okay.
And then, as I'm looking in my mirror, it looks like he's thrashing his bike after that.
Oh my gosh.
He threw it down on the ground and started, like, stomping on it.
He's self-destructive. Was he getting stung by bees?
No, I think he was freaking out.
About what?
I don't know.
What could cause you to
That might have been his yard, and he couldn't go somewhere, so he's like, fuck it, I'll fuck everything up. I don't know.
Those are some serious anger issues. I mean, to see a man self-destruct like that.
It wasn't a man, it was a little kid.
A little kid, no less.
Well, that's what we call a tantrum.
John and I knew a guy. We both produced albums for him. And he believed that sometimes his instruments would get possessed. The devil would be in them, and he would, like, throw his amp down multiple flights of stairs, and same with his guitar, burn his guitar.
I used to know a taxi cab driver that would periodically just rip out all the electronics in his cab.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Do I know him?
I think so.
What's his name?
Jay.
No.
He would just tear out all the electronics, and because he said they were bugged.
I miss Gus.
Yeah, Gus.
There was this guy.
I found him on Facebook or something the other day.
Oh gosh, I think I might have too.
Yeah, I think he just got it.
Oh, man, I need to hook up with that guy. Gus was like shorter than Danny DeVito.
If he got a Facebook just recently, he's definitely not trying to hook up with either of us.
Look, Gus was Greek. He was probably like 60 or 70 years old. Had a big mustache. And he was real short, and his clothes were always dirty and way too big for him. and he'd speak a Greek. And he'd always tell you stuff. And he kind of reminds me of Beetlejuice. Like, I was told that he would just make up stories and repeat them to you and just tell you all this stuff he's doing, but he's really not doing anything. And that he lived in a van off Rockville Road. I saw the van once, yeah. But they let him park his van in this parking lot, this Greek restaurant on Rockville Road. And I think they let him come in there and clean up and shit. Because he's Greek and they feel bad for him. And there's something wrong with him, But then Tom, the other Greek, got him a fucking job as a cab driver. But this guy was just horrible, and you felt so bad for him. You wanted to succeed, but when he pulled up, you were like, I'm not putting my customers in your cab, man. You shouldn't be driving a cab. You don't know how to get around here. You scare the shit out of people. You annoy people. You freak them out. Me and Tom are the only ones who can tolerate you up here. Jake, what about you? You tolerate him?
Oh, yeah. I tolerated Gus quite a bit.
He was goofy as hell, wasn't he? But he was always a delight to be around.
I put some people in his car, but there were cab drivers after you left that were worse than Gus. Like,
really?
This one customer came back and said she drove up and down that one street right outside our hotel like 4 or 5 times, and then she finally just pointed out the restaurant like a couple blocks away from our hotel.
Oh, wow.
She could have walked there.
Oh man, yeah, I felt horrible. We were sending these people to Deer Creek, but it was, it was a great run, a lot of money. It was so far away, but that traffic is horrible. And Tom knew the back way. Tom was the best to get people there. And he was trying to tell Gus how to take that back way.
Yeah.
He was like, call me if you need help. Call me. I'll help you. Because, everybody wanted him to succeed, but it's just like, dude, this guy's going to fuck it up. And yeah, sure enough, they were so pissed.
Really? I didn't ever hear that part about the guy.
The customers just get so pissed.
Man, so he was a bad cab driver on top of all that.
Yeah. That guy couldn't take care of himself. He was just bad. Yeah, on top of all that.
Well, you hear about these cab drivers.
It was like Beetlejuice Green, like Lester Green. Like that's he was like a more elevated version of that. He would just spit out random things. He would just say random things, and they were usually not necessarily lies, but just him just repeating what other people told him. So he'll tell you somebody else's story, or like tell you about how he was working on this car today when he wasn't working on a car, it's somebody else was, and they just told him about it.
That's so strange.
Yeah, it's always in this crazy.
He's always.
Oh yeah, I got real raspy.
Yeah, he'd always get up on you.
Oh yeah, too close, way too much in your face.
But he was so cute. He was like.
He was a little guy though, so he could
very tiny
his way into your space.
This very tiny little man. He just looked funny. Almost like a toy. But yeah, I need to add that guy on Facebook. Gustavo, Gustavo. We never did call Tom back that night after we drunk dialed him. Taxi Tom. We got this guy, Taxi Tom. We want him to be on a recurring segment on the show where we just call him and talk to him about shit that's happening in the city because he's always down. He knows. And he's a fucking genius and he's got a lot of political and religious views. And he's kind of a conspiracy nut. And he hates gypsies. He fucking hates them, and he can spot them a mile away. Me, I didn't even know what a gypsy was until Tom showed me.
Are there a lot of gypsies around here?
He spots them.
He finds them?
Oh, yeah. He knows who the gypsies are.
Describe a gypsy to me.
I don't know, man. I have no idea.
Is it just something else he's just making up?
No, this wasn't Tom. This was Tom.
I mean, I understand the gypsy cabs, but a gypsy? Like...
Yeah, like a nice-looking woman who, came in a rental car from the airport. He'll point her out to me and tell me that she's a gypsy. Like, I'm not talking about, like, some gypsy, like, with earrings and scarves, wandering around dancing.
But that's what he's referring to, right?
Are we in a fucking Disney movie?
I don't know what he's referring to.
Or like
gypsies are trash.
They're
scumbags. They cheat and they steal and they rob from you. That's what he taught me.
Yeah, that's what. They're from Russia, I think.
I don't know, but that's what he taught me. Although, and Dr. Pong Fong said when he was in Russia, he did run into gypsies, the kids. They were kids who would steal from you. These gypsy kids. I don't know. When I think gypsy
So a
kids,
swindler, basically.
A swindler?
A swindler.
When I think of gypsy kid, I think like Jesse from
fucking fraud.
Free Willy.
Jesse from Free Willy.
Yeah. You know, like that seems like a gypsy kid. You know those kids? You ever seen Free
Jesse
Willy?
Jesse the main character?
Yeah, there's street kids in Free Willy. They're all homeless kids, you know what I'm talking about?
Okay.
They do whatever they want. Kind of like the guys for the Foot Clan. You know? Yep. Menthol or regular. You know, whatever that guy said. Why are we still in the air?
You ready to go? I was looking up Ruska Roma.
Ruska Roma? I don't know what that is. I don't know if I need to.
Russian gypsies.
Oh. So you're angling for the Russian gypsies. Tom was Greek.
And then this other thing says gypsies are believed to have arrived in Europe from northern India in the 1440s.
Yeah, I don't know what a gypsy is. I think a gypsy is what Johnny Depp was from Chocolat.
So, I mean, there's that Indian influence, you know, like you're saying with scarves and whatnot.
Oh.
Yeah. Like I stereotypically...
Hey, I saw Thinner.
Think a gypsy...
That movie's fucked up, Jake.
Dresses like a...
You seen that
genie.
shit, Thinner?
Yeah.
Ooh.
What, did you just see it?
No, man, I saw that years ago.
All right. You seen that movie, The Castle?
No.
Aww.
I tried to watch it. I watched The Last Castle.
Is that it?
With Robert Redford?
Yeah.
Yeah, you told me to watch that, and then so did John and your brother, and you guys were all like, "This is the best movie." And you were like, "Yeah, I'm glad I finally recommended something to you that you're actually going to watch this time."
Uh-oh.
And
Tyler even went so far as to say,
I had to call Tyler because I forgot it.
This is going to be your new favorite movie.
Yeah, and Tyler told me, "Oh yeah, Last Castle, you're going to love it. It's going to be your new favorite movie."
I mean, you can't even, you know.
Yeah, but John was like, "I'm going to go home and watch that movie right now. That's how good it is."
I kind of laughed when Tyler said that because I knew it's not going to be your favorite movie.
No, it wasn't that good. It wasn't that good. The Last Castle, Robert Redford, you know, and I don't know if I missed something in the beginning, but I didn't understand why they were in like a Marine or what. Like, I didn't understand there was like a government jail.
They were like army soldiers, right?
Yeah, it was something weird.
It was an army jail or something.
Yeah, no saluting, blah, blah, blah. But it was all right. I like that wall. I like the idea of that wall they're building. I really like that. Gandolfini, douche. Get a little Ruffalo. Mark Ruffalo was in that, I think. He was great. He was great. He was the guy that bet on everything.
Oh, okay.
But no, I didn't think it was that good. But then it got me on a kick where then I started watching prison movies. So right after I watched that...
Shawshank Redemption.
No, I've already seen that 100 times. I've been there, bro. So after watching that, I watched Escape Plan with Sylvester Stallone and Arnold Schwarzenegger.
That's a pretty good movie.
That movie was just as good as Last Castle. But
you think so?
Yes. I got just as much joy out of that as I got out of Last Castle.
Wow. I thought the story of Last Castle was pretty good, you know?
Yeah, I thought that was much more uplifting.
I liked seeing an abusive system get turned over. And, you know, the rioting, the repeal or whatever they call it by the inmates. I liked that. And I also liked just the whole idea of fucking, you know, kind of like Face Off, you know, just the whole idea of Sylvester Stallone being an innocent man stuck in this place and he has to get out and then Schwarzenegger's there and then they become buddies.
I guess that's what you're saying. Because, that is really cool.
And they don't know where they're at and, you know.
It was pretty cool, but it's a little bit cheesy, don't you think?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I thought Last Castle, for some reason, came off real cheesy.
Jake, don't you think Last Castle is like a serious movie?
Oh, yeah. Much more serious.
Chris thought it was cheesy.
I didn't see it that way.
Yeah, I was like, oh, Tyler must love this because he's a Marine.
That's what I was about to say. Is that why Tyler liked it so much?
Well, Tyler liked it before he became a Marine. Could have led to him becoming a Marine. Who knows? But Yeah.
I would, yeah. So then after that, I actually watched a third one.
What was that?
Murder in the First.
Mm.
And that was awesome. That was Alcatraz in the 30s. And it was Kevin Bacon, who's on Alcatraz for stealing $5. He's in Alcatraz, and he tried to escape, so then they put him in a hole for 3 years, and then he comes out and kills somebody. Then Christian Slater has to defend him.
What's it called?
I think it's called Murder in the First.
Murder in the First.
And Gary Oldman's in it.
Jake, do you know who it is?
Gary Oldman.
And Stephen Tobolowsky's in it.
I just forget who he is.
Stephen Tobolowsky's in it.
No, there's a TV show called Murder in the First.
Just type in Murder in the First.
Yeah, there
Kevin
is a
Bacon.
TV show.
Alcatraz. Kevin Bacon.
Guess what I watched this morning?
No.
London Has Fallen.
See, I would probably never watch that.
London Has Fallen.
Do you watch Olympus Has Fallen?
No.
Mm-hmm.
White House Down.
Yep.
50% on Rotten Tomatoes is this Murder in the First. That's not too good, is it?
No, but I got a rule. It's 30%.
Is it 30?
Yeah, 30 is my number. If it's lower than 30...
London Has Fallen is 26%.
Yeah. If it's lower than 30 and it's something you're not really interested in seeing, then it's probably going to be horrible. But if it's something you really want to see and it's lower than 30%, there's still a good chance it's going to be halfway decent. That's the way I look at it. What do you got? Is that the name of the movie, Murder in the First?
Yeah.
Kevin Bacon? Oh, it's got 50%. Yeah, that was a good flick, man. I recommend it. A lot of baseball talk, too. Any other good prison movies I should check out?
Historical reality. You know about that?
No, I didn't click that part of the Wikipedia. Any good prison movies I should check out? We should wrap up this show. Okay, you ain't got nothing. Don't look up a list, John. I've done that already.
Roger Ebert gave London Has Fallen, well, his website did.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't think he was alive for that one.
0.5 stars.
That's what I'm talking about.
Wow. Horrible and widely unsuccessful.
I knew exactly what I was going into when I started watching that, though. Just a bunch of shit blowing up while I could play games on my cell phone.
I like that Purge Anarchy or election year. Not bad. Not bad. Those purges, keep them coming, guys.
Is that
keep
the
the
third?
purges coming. Yeah.
Huh.
Where's my music? Where's my music? Where's my music? Where's my...
Is that a quote from the music? The movie?
There it is. I'd like to thank Darren Snyder from Indian Tune. I'd like to thank John Rapp and Jake. And our guest, John, from iLobby.co. And Mike Moore from the WFO Fuck You, Motherfucker. And Kenny White from Howie and the Coffee Show. And Rich Barker from Park 9. And John G from 405. Jake, is there anyone you would like to thank?
Yeah. Did some new artwork. Ron at Radio Mix Music. What the fuck did you do? Jeremy at Couch Potato Nation, Mark at Tangent Bound Network, Jack at the Mix FM, Zuma Peter at Loudountown Online Radio, Mike from the Wheelbarrow Full of Dicks Internet Radio Program, Tom at TalkStream Live,
Zuma,
Mike at IRN Internet Radio Network, Toby at Radio Blitz,
Toby,
the Mars is Sound Man, United Sound Choice. It's a nice little middle finger. Tico at FJS Radio. Peter at Cornucopia Broadcasting.
Are you on your phone?
No. TJ at Deep Talk Radio. Big Nate on the air.
Nate.
Nowhere.
Bum, 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 bum. Okay, thank you very much. I hope you play it. And I know this is recording. And I hope you play it. Okay. See you guys.